My name's Richard Budd. We farm here at Stevens Farm in Hawkhurst. We farm an area of about 1,100 hectares around this area and about 20-mile radius from this farm. The trial with Revystar XE this year was really positive. We'd been very dry up until beginning of sort of late April, early May. So rain was definitely required. It just meant that you had to be a bit more on your game when it got to T2. You really had to keep an eye on the crops. It wasn't just a case of sort of starting at one end and finishing at the other. We had to get out and really check hard to make sure we got the timings as close as we could. But generally, no, I mean, Revystar X looked as good as anything else on the ground this year. Probably right at the very end, it looked like it was keeping the crop greener, a lot greener, on the trial field for about another 7 to 10 days. But in terms of actual visible disease control, marginal this year. But if we have a more challenging season in another year, then hopefully we'll see some major differences. Certainly when we went out to look at the trial data in Ireland back in June, there were some huge differences there, where obviously septoria is pretty prolific on any year. Disease control this year was good pretty much across the board. But what was the difference this year was the fact that we ended up with a longer growing period in the southeast. Normally we end up with a very hot end of June, which cooks crops off early. This year, crops stayed green right through until the middle of July. So we got that extra two-week window, and we were able to see some of the other attributes of Revystar. Although we weren't seeing a lot of obvious effect with disease control this year, we did see a very marked effect in the length of time that crop stayed greener for. Not just on the top of the crop either, right down to sort of leaves 3 and 4. And as a result, we saw a 0.99 of a tonne a hectare increase on the Revystar area compared to the control area. Now, obviously, we need to do that again and trial that again and see whether that was actually a one-off or whether it's a continual something of the trait that Revystar is going to provide us with. But certainly it needs looking at again and rolling out on a greater acreage to see if its performance can be replicated across many varieties. It'll certainly be a key building block for the fungicide programme going forward in the future as we lose other ingredients. And I think, yes, it is. It's going to be really key. It's probably the most important development in fungicide programmes since SDHI chemistry came along 7, 8 years ago. My advisor's already seen Revystar XE in action, obviously in the trial fields this year, and he was suitably impressed with how long it kept that crop green. We will be using Revystar XE next year. We had some very positive results this year, not just down to disease control, but maintaining green area for longer. That, along with the results that I saw in Ireland with the disease control out there, certainly means it will be a key part of our fungicide programme. So yeah, plenty of Revystar on our recommendation. At the end of the day, we're here to try and increase our profitability and reduce our risk. And any of these new tools coming along, be it chemistry, be it machinery, has got to be a positive thing, and you've got to look at it and trial these things on your farms.
BASF. We create chemistry.